Poltergeist is, at least for me, one of the best horror movies of all time. It's funny, suspenseful, scary, touching, and thematically rich. It combined the best elements of the haunted house movie with the state-of-the-art visual effects of the early 80s. And unlike many other horror movies, the characters are people you like and want to see survive. The sense of family bond in the Freeling household is strong, boosted by the excellent performances, a rarity in the horror genre. And who could ever forget this classic line?
They're here.
There are many aspects to Poltergeist that make it a classic, but I'll start simple with the opening moments of the film and explain why it's a brilliant piece of visual storytelling. The best films are meticulously and deliberately crafted to present a theme, a feeling, and a cathartic experience. Filmmakers prey upon audience emotion and use subconscious trickery to manipulate the viewer in certain ways. Poltergeist does this masterfully. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the whole did Spielberg direct Poltergeist or not thing. I have my own opinion about that. Personally, I think Poltergeist feels more like a Spielberg movie than a Tobe Hooper movie, and Spielberg did write the original script. Whether or not he actually directed it, his fingerprints are all over it, and thus, like Jerry Bruckheimer is often the producer auteur over his action movies, I feel Spielberg lords over this movie in a way that can't be denied. One of the first things the movie does is introduce every member of the Freeling family, while expressing Spielberg's pervasive theme of absentee fathers and inadequate males. And our guide through this technique is, funny enough, the family dog. The filmmakers cleverly use this dog to motivate our movement through the house to each member of the family. First up is the father, Stephen, asleep in front of the TV as the dog laps up his leftovers. Two things to notice here. The filmmakers deliberately hide Stephen's face, having placed him downstairs in front of the TV rather than in bed with his wife, who we'll get to in a second. These two seemingly inconsequential choices are the foundation of the absentee father motif Spielberg often injects into his films. With his face hidden, Stephen, the father, is given cinematic non-importance as just some any guy in front of the TV, like many any guys who father children and become absentee fathers, more interested in satisfying their own desires than being present. The dog moves upstairs in search of more food. The second person the dog visits is Stephen's wife, Diane. She is sleeping alone, and unlike her husband, we actually see her face. This subtle contrast immediately gives her more importance over Stephen, establishing her as the emotional rock of the family. Next up is the eldest daughter, Dana. Her face also shown, like her mother's. Being disturbed by the dog, she rolls over, revealing a bag of half-eaten chips. There are many scenes in this movie where Dana is eating, far more than anyone else, and there's a popular theory that the character was actually pregnant. Next, the dog enters the children's room and first visits the young son, Robbie. Notice that while Robbie's face is on screen, it is actually obscured by his baseball cap. His face, like his father's, hidden from us. And lastly, the dog visits the youngest, and the one who is eventually kidnapped, Carol Ann. Her face, like the other females, is seen. But even more fascinating is that she's the only person whose face we've been able to see clearly. Everyone else's face is either off-screen or turned to the side or obscured by something. Visually, this immediately identifies Carol Ann as the most important person in the house, and the person the poltergeists are most interested in. To hammer this point home, the camera slowly glides toward her as the dog leaves the room and she eventually sits up. So in just a minute or two, the filmmakers have established everyone in the house in a clever way via the dog, established the theme of female-male dynamics, which will actually play out in the film later, and shown who the main character is. All done without dialogue. It's pure visual storytelling, and it's one of the many reasons Poltergeist is such a classic. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, as I'll be posting more content in the future. Thanks for watching.